Welcome. This is Barry Jones from the Angel School, and we're here for our weekly angel reading for June 17th through the 23rd, 2019. So let's take a moment to take a deep breath and to really just center ourselves within our heart center and allow ourselves to feel the frequency of love and support that is coming right now from your guardian angels. So allow yourself to really tune into the frequency of love and support that's coming from your guardian angels. And you may want to begin to feel or sense a golden light enveloping you, as you can call on the gold light of the Christ consciousness, or you can just call it gold light. By calling in this 10th dimensional frequency of the golden ray, and allow it to just touch and ignite each of your 12 ascended chakras, the 5th dimension, and feel it pouring down into hollowed earth. And you can even see it just flowing into the ley lines of the earth all around the planet. And you can send this Christ energy, this golden light, to anyone or to any situation that is coming up for you right now as you relax and continue to breathe. And with this gold light, create a very sacred space for you and your guardian angels to communicate, and all of your other guides to feel that loving frequency of unconditional love and wisdom and spiritual truth to come forth. And so the angels keep writing the word look throughout this entire meditation. And I was seeing at first a bookshelf, and then a window, an open window. So there's an opportunity, or there are possibilities of opportunities around you. And the bookshelf may just literally indicate that you may come across a book that may be useful to you, that may contain some answers that you're seeking. It could just be in general written words or knowledge, information that may be useful and helpful. They're writing the word helpful to you. So and when I see windows are a symbol of an opportunity. And so just be very open to things that are coming through this week. It could be spiritual, the information that's coming through, or the opportunity could be some kind of insight. But they want you to know that you're safe. They've written that word out. They want you to know that. And that you have a lot of wisdom, and you have a tremendous wealth of inner abundance, inner wisdom that is available to you. And that you don't really need to be afraid of anything that comes before you, that you are prepared already, even though you may not know it, but you are prepared for what you will encounter. And it doesn't matter what kind of situation it is, especially if there's a new opportunity. And you may, for instance, it could be a new job opportunity, something that you're being given that's you're seeing as a challenge in the moment, or you may be focused on all the challenges that the opportunity is presenting you. But just know that all you have to do is show up and open your heart. Okay? Just show up and open your heart. And when you open your heart and you show up, you may be anticipating what kind of problems, or anticipating the kind of responses or the things that will be required of you. But when you show up and you open your heart, the answers will flow right to you. They will come right to your mind. They will come from your heart, and your heart will offer these things to your mind, and they will feel like inspiration. And your gifts will also float to the surface, your skills and your knowledge. If it's about dealing with people, they're writing this word people out. If it's about dealing with people, or a group of people, or it's a new group of people, and you don't know how you're going to connect with them, this will come in a form of inspiration. So if you are given guidance to prepare certain things, do that. The things that you may be aware of are good ideas that come that will help you to feel a little bit more secure and to feel like you have done everything. So anything that just gets rid of that feeling of lack, like you're lacking something, like you're going without something that you need. Follow those instincts, but then know when you've done enough. Embrace that, accept that, and then stop thinking about it, and know that the rest of your work is showing up and opening up your heart and letting the wisdom pour through you. I don't know if this is going to help you, but this is something I discovered for myself. And I've always known it, but didn't know how it and why it was happening in some ways. But remember that you are multidimensional, and all the facets of you are always in responding to any situation from every level of your being, every dimension of your being, every lifetime of wisdom and knowledge and abundance that has been gathered is always right there on the surface, right there within an impulse, like an impulse or where I just feel like it's like a heartbeat. You see this pulse move, and it's just constantly doing it. And at the surface of this pulse, light radiates from this pulse, and it goes out, and it's like this golden pulse. And as you interact with another individual who is also multidimensional and multifaceted, and the facets of them are reaching out to the facets of you. And this is where you are suddenly inspired to have a response, a clear response to a situation, to a question, or to a need. This is where your instincts come from, to be able to meet the challenges of the moment that are in front of you, or to meet the opportunities, is it how you want to perceive this. Just know that there's so many parts of you that you aren't aware of, but they are fully awakened. And they will activate when they are called upon, even when you don't know what that is that's being called upon. But when you feel something stirring within you, don't try to suppress it or restrain it because you fear that you won't be able to keep up with that thread of ideas, or that thread, that thought. You just keep feeding it with your heart. You keep responding, keep being in the moment and reacting with people, and it will just keep coming. So don't let your thoughts, your fears get in the way of you having a good time and being present. Because when you're fearing the situation or the outcome of a situation, you're not present. You're in the past. And all that you see is the way that your present circumstances is all sort of shaped or colored by the past, so that the opportunities or the lack of them is because you're not present, but you're in the past. And so they want you to look. Don't be afraid to look. That is to say, don't be afraid to open your heart. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable to the present moment. Be honest. It's sort of like when you're communicating with, or if you're ever doing a reading for someone else, if you don't know, you don't know, but you're just honest. And if you don't understand some of the symbols that you see, you just say that and you start describing them. And as you describe them, it just opens up this matrix. It's like a key. You keep turning key after key after key, and door after door after door opens. And it's sort of what I'm trying to describe to you here in this more, I don't want to say normal process, but, your everyday process. The same thing is happening. You're always reading people, whether you read, say that you're sitting down and meditating and reading, doing a reading. Life is one big reading. And the only way to get the clear, accurate readings so that we don't bring our past into the influence of the present moment is to constantly be honest, to be seeking the truth, to describe what you see, and without judgment. And in that interaction, you will find that they're writing out the word confession, but everyone will be equally honest. It allows for the confession to happen because compassion is present. And this way you really get to the core of the opportunities that are available in this new interaction. As bonds of the heart are encouraged, people open up the vault of all of the gifts and talents and skills and experience and wisdom that they have, and it is exchanged between you. And this creates a trust. So if you are trying to figure out how to hold something back rather than just be open, this is where this is coming from a trigger from your past. This isn't a signal that you're not living in the present, that you're letting your past influence what's possible for you in the moment. And it's usually going to hold you back, because if we're afraid of being ourselves in front of other people, then this is a signal that you're not open to the present, and that you're not open to the opportunities. You're not available to opportunities that the universe has orchestrated based on the signals of request that your soul has offered, as it has become clearer and clearer through the contrast that allows it to understand the differences and then hone in on the desire that it wishes to serve from that. And you can't keep moving forward while you're afraid to be open and honest and clear. It also makes it difficult to be clear if you cannot be open and honest and in the present. If you let your past guilt you or shame you. This is a huge struggle in seeking happiness because of these kinds of interferences from our past. And they cause us to then experience regrets, because our past, our pain, our suffering, or our guilt or our shame eclipses a potential moment, a potential opportunity that we back away from instead of embracing. So let's take a look at the cards for this week and see what's unfolding and what further messages we're getting. Using the Guardian Angel Tarot by Radley Valentine and formerly Doreen Virtue. So let's take a look at the Archangel Oracle theme for the week, and look at that word, compassion. Just what we were talking about, coming up quite a bit. This is the Archangel Zadkiel. And the message, but I have to get my glasses, hold on. Okay, sorry about that, can't see without them. So the message says, soften your heart with respect to this situation. And all people, that word has been coming up a lot, involved, including yourself. So there is a situation that's sort of unfolding for you, and I feel like it involves you, like some people, some of us, for various reasons, find it difficult to be, let's say, in a crowd of people, or feel very triggered when they're around new people, or when there's an imbalance of some sort of power. And so I get this feeling where they keep showing me meeting two people sort of touching foreheads, as if to a meeting of the minds. And they're showing me a phallic symbol, so that there's something that you're trying to manifest, but maybe there is a lot of masculine energy, a lot of an aggression coming from one side, or that aggressiveness is something that triggers you, and it maybe creates some memories or connections to someone who has, sort of been aggressive. They're also writing that for some people, this triggers this sort of aggressive sort of figure, God figure, that some of you have grown up through your religions. And so that this kind of allows you to, it puts you in a sort of a traumatic state when you are trying to work with other people, and that person may have more dominating, or tend to be come across as aggressive or arrogant, and this is a put off for you. It may be something that you just shy away from, and you may not even just entertain or get, you just stay clear of people like this. And understandably, we understand why you would do that, in order to try to keep a sense of balance in yourself, so that you're not triggered into places that sort of disallows you to receive opportunity, or to create further abundance in your life, to attract that into your life. However, what I'm getting from this is that you need to come into awareness, and right in the word deep, like there's a deeper part of this that you need to sort of resolve and to come to terms with, is that you are avoiding this kind of interaction, which you're still perceiving as having a greater influence, like it's more powerful. Like this is, whether you deep down, it's not real power. We all know that. But we don't really know that, do we? Because we feel intimidated when people act in this way. And something that came up in a conversation with a friend this week is that compassion, the person who carries the ability to use compassion, is the true power. You have the true influence, because your voice, the voice of compassion, allows everyone to feel a sense of trust. When people listen to that voice when it speaks, not just because it's soothing, but because it's coming from a place of caring, and it's coming from a place of consideration. It's coming from a place of clarity, and a place of, I can't find the word, it's just on the tip of my tongue, but it's a place of truth. And so you are carrying the highest frequency in the space. The only thing is that you have to be willing to speak. You have to be willing to be present in the midst of this dominating energy, and not feel that you have to shift something within yourself, to adjust, to compromise, in order to deal with that energy. That energy, the people who are doing that, they have to adjust to you. As if you stay in that place of compassion and they're still, hemming and hawing like a lion or whatever, all that aggression, it'll be like it's not going anywhere. It's not triggering anything. It's not getting a response. And, eventually you have to see that you're just, I don't know how to say this, but your actions are over the top and foolish and out of balance with everything else. And so eventually that person will have to start making adjustments in how they approach things. So the thing is that, when you're dealing with people like this, the angels just wrote out the word approval. Like you're usually looking for approval from them. And it's the other way around, really. So don't allow yourself to just sort of get caught up in this, especially if you're being led to this point and there's an opportunity in there for you. Don't be afraid that you could lose your ground, or your sense of balance and harmony. There's no reason that you need to adjust or come out of that place in order to be present and deal with what is coming, what this other person or the other people are doing. You just stand firm in your compassion and keep listening instead of reacting. That's the difference. Usually the person who's aggressive is just reacting, just saying whatever that they can think of, because that's like a last ditch effort to survive at whatever it is that they're trying to get across. But all you need to do is keep listening and keep responding to what your heart is, what your heart's purpose or intention, or that whatever that intent is, that's what you keep reinforcing. And you just keep reinforcing this compassionate view. And if you are willing to show up and you're not trying to figure out how to best a person in a situation like this, but you're listening and you are offering words that are inspired, you will reach the goal. You will achieve what you've come to do, and you will receive the opportunities that are available to you. Okay? So I don't know why I just saw the word earthquake, but it may feel like one when you have to confront this kind of thing. But just know that you will get through, and you will get through to the people that you're talking to or you're dealing with in whatever the situation is. Okay, let's take a look at the cards for this week and just see what's going on. So that I'm just sort of just struck by that message, soften your heart. Okay, that means let go of any judgment. Don't have any, don't draw conclusions before you know what is really going on, and you can only know what's going on by listening. Like part of your work is just showing up and listening, opening your heart, listen, and then respond. If someone is really aggressive and then just let them talk it all out and just make notes inside of your heart, and let them exhaust themselves. And then when they're done, then there's plenty of space, like vibrational space, of that is harmonious for you to speak on that sort of carpet of harmony. All right, so the card for the beginning of the week is the Hermit, or here the spiritual teacher. And so this is also interesting because the Hermit is someone who spends his time sort of on the peripheral of most situations. He's not usually engaging a lot in, let's say, I like to think of it like you always see him in mountains and sort of, and not in the inner city, not in the inner circle of society. But he's not removed as if to not know what's going on. But I like to think of the Hermit as someone who's just walking around, and he's just sort of walking around these social circles, and he doesn't really just he doesn't click. He doesn't get involved in clicks, but he's there. He's aware. He's a very aware, very enlightened, because he's watching, he's seeing it all unfold, and the thoughts and ideas that come to him. And then at some point, someone may reach out to him because they see he's not caught up in it, and they want sort of an unbiased voice. So you may be called on this week to sort of be this unbiased voice. It's because you don't get involved in these the drama of other people or the cliques and things of this nature, that you are seen as someone who has a really clearer picture of things, because you are not intimidated, or you're not forced or drawn into things against your will. You know, you stand your ground calmly. You're not going in there. You're not standing on the sidelines, and you're, judging everybody and pointing fingers at them. That's not what the hermit does, and I don't think that's why we see this archetype as there's a certain amount of respect and reverence for this archetype, because he's not judgmental. But he doesn't get caught up in things, but he's just around. He's someone that people are aware of, and they respect his wisdom, and they respect his ability to be detached, because without him, the contrast, if you want to think of this in a moment, you couldn't see. He sets like a sort of a measurement or guideline for when we allow ourselves to get too agitated and too involved in what other people are thinking and what other people are expecting of us, and not being independent enough to be focused on what is right for us, what's our purpose, what is it that I'm supposed to be open to in this moment, instead of all of this stuff. Is this me, or is this everybody else? So be aware of that as part of this compassion component, that sometimes it's best not to get involved, and maybe wait until someone reaches out to you. Because if you're seen involved, or if you're involved, it makes it very difficult for you to sort of reach inside of yourself and tap into that inner wisdom, that inner clarity, when you're so mixed up in things. So you don't want to just walk away and not be aware, but you want to be aware. You just don't have to get involved. So pick and choose is a feeling that I get too. Okay, so I think the card message you can see here clearly. You can read for yourself. I don't want to get too much into reading the long detail messages there. Okay, and so here you have the helper of thought, which is the swords or air sign, and the helper, if I remember this correctly, should be the knights. Okay, messengers are in this deck are the pages, and I think the nurturer is the queen, and the king is the guardian or something. So this knight is usually sort of, how do you want to say, impetuous, or sort of it can be impatient. He often sees the with more clarity, or is very quick at making decisions. I'm the total opposite of this. So if I saw this card come up, I would say to myself, okay, I need to be aware that I'm going to need to make some decisions this week, and there may be quite a few decisions that I'm going to be making, and that I may not have that much time to do it. And so that means that I'm going to have to trust my instincts somehow. I'm going to have to really be more observant. And also, if I'm too, going back to this message, if I'm too involved, if there's too many attachments, then I can't be unbiased, and it'll make it harder for me to make the right decisions or to offer the right advice, So again, maybe you may be called on, because knights, this is a great title for alternative title for a knight, as a helper. And so maybe you may be called to sort of rush in and help solve something, to be sort of a mediator of sorts. So you want to just make sure that you don't get so deeply involved, get drawn in beyond your own principles. So make sure you're clear about what your principles are, what your boundaries are. So be clear, set boundaries, so you're not drawn into things that then, when you get into the gray areas, where you don't know, or things don't really line up with who you are, and you're sort of caught up in this stuff, then it makes it difficult for you to sort of find your way back to your own inner balance and harmony. I'm also seeing the word confess. If you don't know what to do, you don't know what to say, be honest about that. And that kind of cuts that energy off, because then, either someone else will offer a suggestion or a way to help you to figure it out, or it'll leave you out of it. And because if you really don't have an answer and you're not clear, then you don't have to give one. But, they do say, when you not have an answer, or it's like giving an answer within itself as well. So you just want to be as honest, and that if that's where you end up, that's really what is the best thing for you in that moment. That's you really speaking your truth. So this card kind of says here, your life is about to start moving very fast. Events that seem to be on hold suddenly require all of your attention. Okay, there's no time to sit and ponder. So you've got to get moving. Review the details as best you can. Will meet or are someone with a very quick, I gotta look down here, quick mind who instantly grasps what to do. This person is both confident and courageous. Okay, so again, this aspect of this night is also maybe bringing certain characteristics that you need to pick up within yourself in this week. So be confident, but the way to be confident when you're not like this, when I say this, it's like when I go to any place and I have to make a decision, like if it's shopping or ordering something on a menu, I'm just like, oh, I don't know, be very indecisive. It'll take me a long time to figure out what I want. But the thing is to be confident is just to go with your instinct. Go with that first thing. That indecisiveness is just you it's like you're trying to override your heart, and your heart just gives you this feeling like this is what I want, but you try to override it because you start thinking, well maybe this won't be good, or maybe that, and you just get caught up in that. Just go with your heart in those moments. Just go with that instinct. That's the way to sort of cure that problem of being indecisive. All right. So and so we have two major arcana cards this week. So the card at the end of the week is inner strength, and let me just make sure. Yes, that's the strength card, which is here, number 11. They switched the justice and strength here. And so this is just reminding you that you have this balance within yourself. You don't be afraid of your strength. Don't be afraid of your strength. And this kind of, for me, goes back to that word compassion again. And I think I see it here. So, it doesn't mean that just because you're compassionate, that you don't know how to, compassion doesn't mean also that you don't know how to speak clearly and strongly if you need to, but it's coming from a place of conviction. It's coming from the heart. Compassion doesn't mean that you're sweet and, that every word that comes out of your mouth is syrupy sweet. Okay? That's not compassion alone. I think compassion has many facets to it, and one of them is being honest, being clear, and being strong, meaning have conviction about what you see and about what you speak. So don't get it sort of twisted, as they would say. Don't think about anything as being one sort of color. Everything, just like we were talking about at the beginning, we're multifaceted, and so are these sort of archetypes. They're multifaceted. That's why when you read any particular card, there are many ways to read it, because there are many facets, just like, and all these facets are represented within our soul. And within these 78 cards, this is just sort of a small portion of the facets, but within each card is an infinite possibility of facets that will surface for you. So in this week, what we're learning is to, whatever's coming up, to not allow yourself to be drawn into the drama. Make your own choices, and you make those decisions from your heart. What is inspiring you? It makes it easier if you don't get too involved in things. Like, don't take a side unless you have conviction about that. And don't assume that you just have to take those sides, because you may have a completely different point of view that from the other parties, which is maybe the wiser advice or suggestion or decision. So, and you may be called upon to be helpful in this way, to bring in this clarity of thought. But you can't do that if you get involved, if you draw conclusions, if you read the situation just purely based on the reactions, of what's going on. You have the ability to see the need that is in everyone's heart. You can hear what's going on underneath the surface and really bring to the surface the answer that meets that need. Sometimes people are afraid to say what they want, and they draw other arguments that don't even relate to what it is, because they're afraid to be honest. And so this is what I feel like is going on with this reading. These cards are telling us so far. All right, let's take a look at the card I've already pulled from the bottom of the deck. And it's interesting because this card here, the first card, actually fell out of the deck when I was shuffling the cards. So this is kind of appropriate. What's going on underneath, and it just shows you that it's about a relationship harmony and balance, because we have the two of emotion, which is the cups, and this card usually indicates romance, but this could also just indicate relationship between people, just relationship harmony. And it's so interesting because see how their two faces are touching forehead, and I had a vision at the beginning of this reading of that very same thing. So this confirms really what's going, this reading overall, and how there is a way to heal. So this card can also represent that there's a healing or resolution that will unfold. So if there's been some kind of tensions, or if some particular relationship issue comes up, whether it's a colleague or a spouse or a family member, or some stranger you met, that there is some resolution that will come about. And remember that the person with the strongest authority and influence is the person who uses the voice of compassion, and to remember that the compassion has many facets to it, but at the core is honesty and truth, and to speak from a voice, to engage the voice of it slipped my mind, but to engage the voice of inspiration. This is, for me, I've always known it and felt it. When I feel something like I could be so angry at someone, and I can say those things, but it's just missing something from me. And what's always missing, which I don't like to experience, is the heart. It doesn't mean that I haven't told the truth or I haven't said it in such a way that was sharp, but I felt it come from my heart, and the people around me responded. They responded by opening their heart and being truthful and honest. The argument or the whatever the contention, that dissipates immediately. So that's why I always say people channel the love, but don't think that love cannot be, like, look at this cat here. Cats appear very, calm, cool, and collected, very sweet, but boy, they can strike out in the moment, and so it's that there are facets there, but it doesn't mean that cat is not being truthful. It's like coming from a place of whatever happened that made it do that is because something, the way you reacted, it could have been that you just come in with this fear in your energy, and it's just responding to that. We know how animals are very sensitive, but it's never because there's some ill intent. They're reading your intention and responding to that. So, but there are facets, and just be aware of that. You can speak your truth, you can speak with compassion, but there are many ways that might come out. All right, and so don't be afraid of that. Whoa. So I send you lots of love and angel blessings, and I thank you for joining us. And if you would like an angel reading, feel free to contact me at theangelschool.com, where you can go to that page and sign up for a reading there. Someone wrote me last week because I said, if you feel like this reading connects with you and you'd like to contact me, and they wrote me a long letter, but the readings, you have to sign up for them on the page and where you can purchase them. Okay, so if you also haven't joined us for the daily card messages, you can go to my Facebook page. You can find these links below the video, where we do the daily card messages and we go into more insights into the week. So everyone, have a beautiful week, and God bless you.